You know, we've all felt it, that little nagging suspicion when you're scrolling that your feed is somehow built to make you angrier, to make us all more divided. But is that really what's going on?
I mean, let's just ask it straight up. Is social media actually designed to make you angry? It's a massive question for sure, and it really gets to the core of why so many of us feel anxious about our lives online.
Well, here's where it gets interesting. When you actually dig into the data, what the researchers have found, a totally different picture starts to take shape. And honestly, what the science says, it just might surprise you.
Okay, so before we get into the weeds, let's just make sure we're all on the same page with a few key terms. First up, the echo chamber. You've probably heard this one. It's basically an online space where certain messages get amplified over and over, all while being walled off from any opposing viewpoints.
Then you've got the famous filter bubble. This term was coined by activist Eli Pariser, and it's this idea that algorithms are creating a totally unique, personalized universe of information just for you, and they're doing it without you even choosing what gets filtered out.
And last but not least, polarization. Super important concept. This is just the division between groups. Now, it can be ideological, disagreeing on actual issues, or it could be what's called affective polarization, which is, frankly, when you just start to really dislike the other side as people.
All right, so with those definitions in mind, let's tackle that first big idea, the myth of the filter bubble. Are these algorithms really trapping us all in our own little worlds? So the central fear here, and this is what Pariser was getting at way back in 2011, is that all this personalization is creating these separate realities from each of us. And that's, well, it's eroding any chance of having a shared common ground. It's a really powerful idea, and let's be honest, it's kind of terrifying.
But the big question is that actually what's happening? Well, when social scientists started tracking how people really behave online, the data, it told a completely different story.
Okay, so the myth of the filter bubble says our worldview is getting smaller and smaller, right? But what researchers found in reality is literally the exact opposite. It's kind of wild. Across study after study on different platforms in different countries, they found that algorithms actually lead us to more diverse news than we would ever find on our own.
And get this, researchers have this awesome name for it, automated serendipity. It turns out there's just no real scientific evidence to back up the filter bubble idea. The truth is, things like search engines and social media feeds actually nudge us towards slightly more diverse news than we'd probably stumble upon ourselves.
Okay, so if the filter bubble isn't the big bad wolf we thought it was, what about echo chambers? That's got to be it, right? I mean, surely most of us are trapped in one of those, just surrounded by people who think exactly like we do.
Well, again, the research here is pretty mind-blowing. A huge study in the UK went looking for these exact kinds of political echo chambers online. You want to guess what percentage of the public they found was actually stuck inside one? Just 6 to 8%.
That's it. A tiny, tiny fraction of the public was actually inside a politically one-sided news bubble. And this isn't just a UK thing either. They found similar results even in the super polarized US. Turns out the vast majority of us actually consume a pretty diverse range of media.
So here's the key takeaway. Echo chambers, they're definitely real, but they're not these technological prisons we picture in our heads. They're actually pretty small, and the people in them, they're mostly there because they choose to be. It's really driven by a small, highly political minority actively seeking these spaces out, not by some algorithm trapping the rest of us.
So, this brings us to the real story. If the algorithm isn't the main villain here, then what in the world is driving all of that anger and division that we all feel online every day?
The answer has less to do with secret code and a lot more to do with something that's hiding in plain sight: business. I love this quote from Stanford's Richard Thompson Ford. He says, "Welcome to the era of the outrage industrial complex. Outrage isn't just a feeling anymore. It's a product. It's a business."
And the number one tactic of this whole industry is something called rage baiting, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's content that is specifically, deliberately designed to make you angry or frustrated, all for one single reason: to get you to engage so they can make money.
And the business model itself, it's like this simple but really powerful cycle. Step 1. A piece of content provokes a strong emotional reaction in you. Step 2, that anger drives you to engage, comments, shares, arguments in the replies. Step 3, the algorithm sees all that activity and pushes the post out to even more people. And Step 4, the creators cash in on all that attention. It's a perfect loop that pays people to make you mad.
Now you gotta understand,
Rage baiting is just one part of a whole family of attention-grabbing tactics. You've got satire, which uses irony to make a point. You've got clickbait, which just wants your click no matter what. But rage baiting, it's the most toxic of the bunch because its only goal is to make you angry for profit. That's it. It's pure, calculated emotional manipulation.
And look, this isn't just some theory. A huge study out of Yale found that the way social media is designed, it literally teaches us to be more outraged over time. How? Simple. Every time someone expresses outrage, they're rewarded with a flood of likes, shares, and replies. The platform reinforces that behavior again and again. So the business model isn't just selling a product, it's actively changing how we behave.
So, at the end of the day, what's the big takeaway here? Knowing all this, how are we supposed to think about our digital lives now?
Okay, let's just quickly recap what we've learned. First, filter bubbles, pretty much a myth. The algorithms are actually showing us more diverse stuff. Second, echo chambers, yeah, they're real, but they're small, and people choose to be in them. And third, the real driver of all this online anger is the business of outrage, a system that makes money from rage baiting. The problem isn't just the tech, it's the economics and the psychology behind it all.
And that leaves us with one last really important question. It turns out we're not trapped by code, but maybe we're caught in something else, a system that has a direct financial incentive to make us angry. So if outrage is the business model, what's the real price we're all paying for it?